Good evening, I'm Tomas Guevara Calderon, and this is the channel Rewriting the Reality. Subscribe now so you can understand how our beliefs affect our reality. Since the inception of this channel, in April 2023, almost 18 months ago, I have been trying to explain how our beliefs affect us. In this episode number 160, I'm going to give you a method for accepting your beliefs. Imagine all your beliefs as a large bird cage, containing tens of thousands of birds. Each bird is a different color and represents a belief. To accept the method of beliefs is to open this cage and release all the birds. But you can't do it now because we all need a method to allow us to accept one belief at a time, and this is not easy, as we are going to see. The first thing you notice is, this is a belief that exists. This is not an absolute. It is not an element of my reality that is immutable, that is, it cannot be changed. It's an aspect of a belief. The next step is the recognition of the situations, that each situation presents with this aspect of at least one belief. Every time you come forward with a particular aspect of the belief, you will notice it and recognize it. You will not simply realize that there is a belief system in place, but you will go a little further and allow yourself the ability to recognize, this is a specific aspect of a belief, and this is the identification of this aspect. Once you have identified the aspect of the belief system, you begin to present yourself with many different situations and circumstances that will offer you repetitions of the presentation of that same aspect, so that you can see it over and over again, because this is the method chosen. As you see, as you identify the aspect, as you recognize the aspect, and as you present it to yourself over and over again in many different situations and behaviors, you experience responses in conjunction with it. Now, in your idea of addressing the aspect, you think to yourself that you are addressing the aspect of belief, because you are responding to it. But you figured it out, you've already identified it, and now you're responding. This is our logic and our rational thought process in our identification of our method. Let me tell you that you are not yet dealing with this aspect at this stage of your method. You continue in the recognition stage, because you continue to respond. You always continue to allow the affectation of this aspect of the belief. As you move into the next step of addressing the belief aspect, you begin to notice that you are not responding and reacting to the aspect in each of the situations that are presented to you. It becomes less and less affecting. Now we're starting to address the belief aspect. What follows is the action, the implementation of letting go of our control over the energy of that aspect of the belief. This is why I offer the analogy of the bird and the cage, because within the visual physical terms, it is quite easy for everyone to identify in these terms. You may find that you've set your sights on a particular bird. In this, let's say, you've chosen a bright red bird. You become aware of the belief system by noticing that the cage exists. Now, you are not heading into this cage, and you are not creating any movement in the direction of accepting all aspects within this cage. You're just realizing that the cage exists. Once you've recognized that the cage exists, you take a closer look at it and recognize that the cage can accommodate many birds. Now you've realized that the cage is quite full, and you choose to set your sights on a particular bird that you want to release so that it flies freely. Therefore, you start opening the cage. In this, you recognize this red bird. You're seeing this red bird. You're inside the cage and trying to grab this red bird, so you can get out of the cage and get the red bird out of the cage. But in the process of grabbing the red bird is flying in and around the cage and you're trying to catch the red bird, fumbling with yourself to grab this red bird, and every once in a while, you capture it. But the red bird pecks at your hands, and it's writhing inside your hand. Therefore, this red bird slips and escapes from your hands. That is, once again, you're presenting yourself with situations so that you recognize, Oh, yes. The red bird has now moved from this place to this place, and I will move now to capture the red bird here. And once you've moved there to capture the red bird, it flies to another place in the cage and presents yourself with a new situation to capture the red bird. Once you have made many maneuvers to capture this red bird, you express exhaustion in trying to chase and capture this red bird. Therefore, in our physical terms, you give up, and when you give up and you are no longer in pursuit, the red bird flies towards you and lands on your hand, and there you hold the red bird. Now, once the bird has landed on your hand, it doesn't bother you anymore, because you're no longer chasing it. Now you've moved on to the next step of addressing the belief aspect. Now you are holding the red bird, now you offer yourself the ability to be calm. You no longer react or respond to the red bird, you now have the ability to move out of the cage with the red bird, holding this bird, and once out of the cage, you can open your hands and let the bird fly freely. Facing the belief system aspect is not the commitment and pursuit of it. That is the recognition of the existence of belief itself. This is the stage, so to speak, in which you move in your process of conflict, confusion, irritation, a lot of searching, repeated presentations of different behaviors, of different movements, of different angles, of different locations of the aspect. Once you have become sufficiently fatigued in the quest, then you will allow yourself to address the aspect in which you need less energy, because it is not necessary to create a great deal of energy generation with respect to the aspect of the belief system, because you are now addressing it. That is, with the bird in your hand, you begin to free yourself, and as you release, you allow the bird to fly free and neutralize the effect of the belief aspect. If the bird is no longer inside the cage, it will not be affecting you, and you will not respond to it, because you will not face it. This is the method, the process you can choose, not only for you, but for many people in this physical reality that we are living, because outside of this physical reality, that is, as energy beings, we have no beliefs. Generally speaking, this is the method that is commonly accepted within physical focus or our life, to move toward acceptance of a belief system. We are all participating in this kind of movement. It is the shift in consciousness that began about 30 years ago. We are aligning ourselves with this type of creation in methods and processes, and in this is not a bad creation. It's simply a choice of movement that we can understand. It's simply a familiar choice of movement, and there's nothing wrong with this kind of choice. It is not about what you should be creating, but about what you are creating, and what you are creating is the situation of recognizing the aspects of all our beliefs. Nowadays many people are starting to express to themselves that they are tired of chasing this bird, and that you should be ready to simply stop, sit down, and wait for the bird to land in your hands, and in that step, you will allow yourself to easily move out of the cage and release the bird. What we are presenting now is an opportunity. We are moving into a position of attracting different types of expressions and different types of creations through other individuals, which can allow us to move deeper into the view of ourselves, so that we can efficiently identify more of all angles of these beliefs. Now, let's look at an aspect of the beliefs we have chosen to attack, an aspect that we continue to chase around the cage and attempt to capture. This aspect is expectation, the expectation of yourself and how you are creating your reality, the expectations of other individuals that you allow to relate to your reality, and how they may be influencing you. Now you turn the bird to see another angle of this same bird, and you introduce yourself to another individual, and how he sees you and how this individual sees you as a person. In this situation, you are presented with several different actions. You are presented with the opportunity to see more in the area of your own abilities in this area, whether it be work or study with other individuals. The choice of probabilities at work or in study does not necessarily move in the direction of what you term conventional lines, and this offers a glimpse into the beginnings of how you may be implementing your creativity and your actions in conjunction with the direction of coworkers or study partners. and how other people will begin to be attracted to you in this area. This is an element that you are attracting to yourself and presenting yourself. Another is to address this aspect of expectations in relation to yourself and the expectations that you have of yourself, and how they move in conjunction with your sense of responsibility, and how you can shy away from certain situations when you see that they may require responsibility in your expression, and responsibility is not the situation. That's not the problem. But you equate expectation with a projection of responsibility that you have within yourself. If you are engaging in certain actions, you must also be responsible for those actions. This is not the point. In this, you also allow yourself the opportunity to see your participation in the same expression, offering you another angle of the same bird, in the area of projected expectations. You have allowed yourself to see the projection of other individuals' expectations in conjunction with yourself, your choices, and your behaviors. You can now see the projection of your expectations onto another individual regarding their choices, their creations, and their reality. Let's look at some cases at work. You may believe that the responsibility for the business to run is solely on the owner or the boss and that you shouldn't do anything, just do what the boss orders. This is very common if you're doing a job you don't like. But if you like the job, you'll always be motivated to do your best without waiting for orders from the boss. As you can see, responsibility is just a belief. Even the boss may believe that your motivation is because you want to replace him, that is, to occupy that position that he worked so hard to obtain. Or they may think you really like the job and will do their best to raise your salary or give you another position of greater responsibility. On the other hand, if he thinks you are a threat to him, he will look for how to fire you. So, in these situations, apart from letting the bird land in your hand, and letting it fly freely, it is convenient to have good communication with your boss. Another very powerful belief is that women are not good with math. This belief, as a woman, can affect you enormously. That can cause you to put too much effort into studying math and you'll only be blocking yourself. The truth is that women, like everyone else, have preferences. Many people study accounting because it is a short and well-paid career, but if you don't like mathematics, you will never be a good accountant. The same happens with the law career. That's why you shouldn't let other people try to influence you on what you want to be. Always follow your intuition that will never deceive you. Another very powerful and deep-rooted belief is that the mind resides in the brain, or that consciousness is born from mental interactions in the brain. Our body and brain do not have a mind of their own. You, I, and all of us are the mind, what I call essence. The sum of all of us and more constitutes what I call universal consciousness. The images that experts see of the brain is the energy of our mind directing, not only the brain, but all the functions of the body. The brain is only the means by which we direct our body and our reality. Our brain is also the organ that analyzes all the information that our internal senses send us. To this information, the brain adds our beliefs of the moment and provides us with an analysis so that we can take an action. Obviously, this information is not entirely accurate because it has been distorted by our beliefs. I hope this information helps you understand your beliefs and accept them. Once we do, we will automatically understand the beliefs of others, and thus we can live in peace and harmony. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and if you want more information, you can buy my books on Amazon.